That's an interesting name at the top of the table over in League One, of course, as Liam Manning's Oxford United lead the charge. Will they still be there at the end of the match day number 6? We're going to take a little look. Prediction video today. We're taking a look at match number 6 in this year's League One, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new, where you been, smash your subscribe button, bang it. All things Rovers related, League One related, world football related. We got it all here, boys. Under one Rooski, that's right. Oxford United lead the charge. Who's breathing down the necks? Exeter bloody City. Goodness gracious me, as we have 2 new teams sitting in the automatic spots heading into match number 6. We'll get to that shortly, of course. A big shout out to my VIPs. They are the patrons. You know who you are. But let's get into it. Recap last weekend's games. My picks, your picks. And, of course, let's get into it and have a look what's going on this coming weekend. Then, shall we? Here we go. That's right. These are the results. And as you can see, hopefully this is right. Yes, I believe it's right. So here we go then. Of course, Bristol Rovers lost to Wycombe Wanderers. Big win for them on the road. Burton Albion also squeaking a point at home at the Pirelli at Bolton. 1-1 in the end. Meanwhile, Northampton Town, big away day win for them over Cheltenham Town. They're up to 13th in the table right here, right now. Exeter City, 2-1 win over Reading. Big result for them. And they, of course, sit pretty in the second spot in the table. Meanwhile, Stevenage got a solid draw against Pompey. 0-0 in the end. Shrewsbury 1-0 win over Fleetwood Town. They're up to 11th. Goodness gracious me. Flying high. Leyton Orient 2-0 winners over Cambridge. I went with the draw myself. Lincoln City 3-0 win over Blackpool. They're up to 4th in the table. It's crazy. As Blackpool, of course, conceded their first 3 goals of the season in that match. Meanwhile, Oxford United 2-1 winners over Charlton. I went with a 2-0 win myself. Derby 4-2 winners over Peterborough. Of course, Port Vale 1-0 winners over Carlisle. I got that one spot on the nose. And of course, Barnsley 2-0 win over Wigan. Of course, who are still down there. Towards the bottom of the end of the table, of course. So, not looking really good at my picks. Maybe got 2 if I'm lucky. What about you guys? Well, the magic number was 5 with Tetley Teabag and Tom Davies up there with 5. Well done to you guys, because those results were absolute stonkers as well. What does that put you guys in the table, though? We'll have a little look at our overall leaderboard in the free prediction league. It is Ultra OM with 27 points right here, right now. Tom Davies up there with Shane O'Donnell and Tetley Teabag flexing their muscles. Of course, it is 100% free. Get your name in lights. And of course, to see if you can compete with these guys next time around. Of course, I'll show you the link shortly. This is what the table looks right here, right now. It has Wigan up there in 4th. Of course, they are not there. That's, of course, on form. But, of course, down there, they are actually in a 20th spot right now. But it's Oxford, it's Exeter, it's Bolton, it's Lincoln, Stevenage, and Port Vale lead the charge at the moment. That's right, going down Carlisle, Burton, Fleetwood, and Cheltenham right here, right now. That's, of course, the table. Where is this link to the Super? There is the link to the Super Brew right here. Cutley Fortress League One, 100% free, of course. But these are the games right here, right now. Of course, looking forward to each and every one of these games, and we're going to take a little look at them right here, right now, as we build up to the kickoff for the first games of the month of September. So, jump in the deep end, it's Blackpool. It is Wigan, a bit of a northwest crunch clash this one. Coming at you at Bloomfield Road. Played each other 21 times since 2002. 9 wins for Blackpool, 11 wins for Wigan, and we got 1 draw, of course. Blackpool, though, without a win in 4 now. 58% form for them right now. Jordan Rhodes now on the books as well for Blackpool. Their biggest win over Wigan, 5-0 wins, 33 goals in those 21 games, a 1.57 goals game ratio. Up against Wigan, 4-0 win was their biggest, 34 goals scored in the 21 games, 1.62 goals game ratio. They come into this on 58% form, just 1 defeat the past 4 games heading into this. Last round at Bloomfield Road, it was a 1-0 win for Blackpool. That was, of course, back in April 2023 in the Championship. And, of course, Blackpool with that 3-0 loss to Lincoln, ringing in the rears. They haven't scored a goal in the last 4 games. Goodness gracious me, Blackpool. Meanwhile, Wigan with a 2-0 loss to Barnsley, most ringing in there is most recently. 6-5 is your, of course, your Blackpool. 11-5 is your Wigan. 12-5 is the draw. Blackpool have been good, but blunt up top. Jordan Rhodes been brought in to sort that out. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for Blackpool here. Could go either way, though, because sometimes Wigan are good, sometimes Wigan are trash. Next up, we have, it is Bolton. It is Derby coming at you over at the Boundary Park, Reebok, whatever you want to call it. Played played each other 25 times since 1983. We've got 4 wins to Bolton, 14 wins to Derby, 7 draws, of course. Bolton, no biggest win, 2-0 win, scoring 18 goals in those 25 games, 0.72 goals game ratio. They don't like playing Derby. You pick up a 4-0 win, their biggest, 44 goals scored in those 25 games, 1.76 goals game ratio. They come to us on 50% form for them, winning 3 of the last 4, winning 3 out of the last 6 as well. Meanwhile, Bolton coming at you, of course. They've actually just a couple of games now without a win, 75% form for them over the last 6. Last round, they're over at Bolton. It was a 0-0 draw back in December 2022. That was in League One. Looking at Bolton, they've scored just the 1 goal in the last 3 games when taking on Derby. Bolton with a 1-1 draw against Burton, most recently Derby with a big 4-2 win over Peterborough. Of course, the odds, we are 6-5 is your Bolton, 9-4 is the draw, 23-10 is the away win here. Going to go with a 2-0 win for the hosts, of course, Derby. Looking good at the moment. They're a bit hot and cold, you would say, Derby. Bolton, of course, a little bit stagnant as well. But it could be a good game, regardless of whoever comes out top. 2-0 win for me, for Bolton. Next up, we have Bristol Rovers up against Lincoln City, Cheltenham, this coming Saturday as well. Played each other 18 times since 2003. We've got 7 wins apiece and 4 draws. Bristol Rovers, of course, their biggest win, 2-0 win over Lincoln City, scoring 24 goals in those 18 games, 1.33 goals game ratio. Up against Lincoln City, 6-3 win, their biggest, of course, scoring 24 goals in those 18 games, 1.33 goals game ratio. Of course, Lincoln's in a 4th spot right now, unbeaten in the last 5, 75% form over the last 6, just 1 win and 6 though for Bristol Rovers. Of course, heading at you this coming time around. Last round at Bristol Rovers, 6-3 win it was for Lincoln back in September 2022. Lincoln are in action as well in the Cup. They'll take on Sheffield United, I think. Yes, Sheffield United this coming midweek. As for Bristol Rovers, already out in the Cup. The odds here, 13-10 is your Bristol Rovers, 21-10 your away win, 9-4 is the draw. Going on with a 1-0 win here, of course, might be a bit of a hangover for Lincoln City, following maybe some Cup exploits, you would think. Next up, we have Burton up against Exeter City, who had a fantastic start to the season, sitting pretty in 2nd spot. But these two sides have played each other 19 times since 2003. We've got 10 wins for Burton, 6 wins for Exeter. We've got 3 draws. Of course, Burton's biggest win, 4-1 win, scoring 29 goals in those 19 games, 1.53 goals game ratio. Up against Exeter, 3-0 win, their biggest, 26 goals scored in those 19 games, 1.37 goals game ratio. Just 1 defeat though, the past 6 for Exeter, 75% form for them right now. Burton, back-to-back draws for them, 17% form for them as well. Last time around, over at the Pirelli, it was a 1-0 win for Burton. Of course, back-to-back wins over Exeter heading into this. In fact, haven't lost against Burton over Exeter in the last 5 competitive games. Burton, of course, are not in action in the Cup, but Exeter will take on Stevenage for a place in the next round of the Carabao Cup. Of course, the odds right here, right now, we've got Burton 7-4 for the victory, 12-5 is the draw, and 29-20 is the away win here. I'm going to go with Exeter City to take another win, 2-1 win for them, and of course, that will keep them in the top 2 spots and maybe even top the table as well. Cambridge United up against Reading, of course, coming at you this coming Monday. It's actually Monday the 4th of September. A bit of a weird kickoff. Played each other never, these two sides, according to my eyes. It's the Nibs derby, isn't it? Of course. Cambridge, managed by Mark Bonner, of course, coming to Atcher with 50% form for them right now. It's win 3 and losing 3 over the last 6. Reading, of course, managed by Ruben Zeles, won 3 and lost 3 over the last 6 as well. 16th, Reading up against 9th, Cambridge. Of course, Cambridge are not in action in the Cup. They're already out. Reading will take on Ipswich this coming midweek, which, of course, may have a delaying factor in this game as well. No, not much to look into this game. But it's 11-8 is your Cambridge, 15-8 is your Reading, and 12-5 is the draw. I'm back in, of course, Cambridge here. 2-1 win for them at home. All eyes on this one on a Monday night as well. Let's get into the next one. Carlisle United up against Shrewsbury Town. That's right. These two sides locking horns for the 15th time since 2003. We've got 3 wins Carlisle, 6 for Shrewsbury, 5 draws. Of course, Carlisle's biggest win. They're only it was a 1-0 win, scoring 17 goals in those 14 games, 1.21 goals game ratio. Up against Shrewsbury, their biggest win, 3-2 win, scoring 20 goals in those 14 games, 1.43 goals game ratio. Of course, Carlisle struggling right now into 21st spot, 17% form for them right now, just 2 points on the docket. As for Shrewsbury, 50% form for them right now, sitting in 11th spot with 9 points on the board right here, right now. Last round, they're over in Carlisle in the league. It was a 2-1 win for Shrewsbury back in February 2015. And of course, Carlisle haven't won in the last 6 occasions, stretch it all the way back to 2013. Carlisle are not in cup action, neither are Shrewsbury as a gear up for this one. But the odds for this coming at you right here, right now. We've got 5-4 your Carlisle, 9-4 is your away win. That's Shrewsbury. And the draw is at 11-5 on this. Going to go with a 0-1 win for Shrewsbury on the road. 3 points in the bag. And up the table they go. That's right. Next up, Charlton up against Fleetwood Town coming at you at the Valley. That's right. These two sides that played each other 12 times since 2016. We got 4 wins for Charlton, 2 for Fleetwood. And we've got 6 draws, of course. Fleetwood, 2-1 win was their biggest, scoring 12 goals in those 12 games, 1 goal a game ratio. They're on 8% form right now. That is Fleetwood. 23 spot in the league, just 1 point on the books right now. Charlton, 5 defeats on the spin, 70% form for them right now. Dean Holden is in trouble. 2-0 win was their biggest, 16 goals scored in those 12 games, 1.33 goals game ratio heading into this. Last time around over at the Valley, it was a 2-1 win for Fleetwood back in February 2023. Fleetwood picking up a 1-0 loss against Shrewsbury. They are out of the cup, and Charlton did lose to Oxford. They are also out the cup as well this. So no double match week for them. Even Stevens is your Charlton, 13-5 is your away win, and 5-2 is the draw. We are backing Charlton here, 2-0 win for them. Bounce back ability, and of course, get up the table they go. Next up, we have, it is Cheltenham, it is Barnsley. It's also coming at you on Cheltenham as well. Played each other 4 times since 2003. We've got 4 wins out of 4 for Barnsley. Their biggest win, their 4-0 win, scoring 11 goals in those 4 games, 2.75 goals game ratio. Up against Cheltenham, who've scored just 2 goals in those 4 games, 0.50 goals game ratio. Of course, Cheltenham propping up the table right now, 24th spot, just 1 point on the books thus far. They're one of the last 8 games. Meanwhile, Barnsley, 42% form for them right now. 1 win in 5. They're in 12th spot right now, 7 points on the board, and trying to get themselves back in the mix for playoffs. Coming at you last round at Cheltenham was a 4-0 win for Barnsley back in February 2023. Back-to-back last season, scoring 5 goals without return, Barnsley over Cheltenham. Of course, this week in the Cup, none of them are in action, of course. Both of them are already out the Cup with the odds right here, right now. We have your Cheltenham coming at you 16-5 for the victory, 5-4 on is your Barnsley away days. Of course, they're favoured. And we have 13-5 is the draw here. Got to go with Barnsley, 2-1 win for this one. Going to be a tight game, but I think Barnsley will have too much in the tank as Cheltenham look like they're doomed at the moment. And I think, is that where they got the coach from for the Barnsley? They took Cheltenham's coach? I don't know. Maybe not. Meanwhile, later on up against Stevenage, of course, turn the clock back just 1 year, and this was, of course, a fixture in the 4th tier. Oh my gosh, I can't count. Played each other 20 times since 2011. Got 9 wins for the Orient, 4 wins for Stevenage, and got 7 draws, of course. Orient, their biggest win, 3-0 win, scoring 26 goals in those 20 games, 1.30 goals a game ratio. Up against Stevenage, their biggest win, 3-0 win, scoring 16 goals in those 20 games, 0.80 goals game ratio. Of course, Stevenage back-to-back games now without a win, 75% form for them. They are 5th with 10 points so far this season. The Orient, though, back-to-back games now without a loss in 18th spot with 4 points on the board right here, right now. Turn the clock back 12 months, of course, Leyton Orient with a 0-0 draw at Brisbane Road back on Boxing Day, or the day after Boxing Day last season, of course. This coming week, Stevenage take on Exeter in the Cup to see if they can go through to the next round. They're expected to lose that one on the road. The odds right here, right now, though, the Orient, 17-10 for the victory, 9-4 is the draw, 8-5 is your away win here. We're back in, of course, a draw here, point apiece, just like it was last year. Next up, we have, of course, it is Northampton Town up against Wycombe Wanderers over at the Six Fields. That's right, of course, coming at you this coming Saturday, the 2nd of September. Played each other 22 times since 2003, 7 wins apiece and 8 draws, of course. Northampton, their biggest win, 5-2 win, scoring 36 goals in those 22 games, 1.64 goals game ratio. Up against Wycombe, their biggest win, 5-0 win, scoring 40 goals in those 22 games, 1.82 goals game ratio. Of course, they come into this in 14th spot, 7 points on the board. Just 1 defeat past 5, 58% form for them over the last 6. Northampton Town, unbeaten in the last 3, 42% form for them over the last 6. Last time around, though, over at Sixfield in the league, it was a 1-0 win way back in February 2016. It was a 1-0 win for Northampton Town. Of course, they did play each other last season in that Cup. It was a 2-1 win for Wycombe. Yes, it was. Speaking of Cup, Wycombe are in action against Sutton United this week. They're expected to win that game and go through to the next round. As for the odds for this one, 13-10 is your Northampton, 19-10 is your away win, 12-5 is the draw. Tight this one. Going to go with a 1-0 win for the hosts, who have a free week, while Wycombe have to squeeze in another game against Sutton United. Next up, we have Oxford United flying high up against Port Vale, who are doing pretty good themselves right here, right now. Probably the game of the week. Coming at you at the Kazan, played each other 17 times in 1996. We've got 8 wins for Oxford, 7 wins for Port Vale, 2 draws, of course. Oxford 4-0 win, their biggest, scoring 20 goals in those 17 games, 1.18 goals game ratio. Up against Port Vale, 3-0 win, their biggest, scoring 23 goals in those 17 games, 1.35 goals game ratio. Up against, of course, Port Vale, 75% form for them, unbeaten in the last 5, picking up 4 wins out of the last 5. Up against Oxford, won 4 in the bounce, and they, of course, sit pretty at the top of the table. Last time around at the Kazam, it was a 4-0 win for Oxford back in November 2022. Oxford, back-to-back games without conceding against Port Vale. Speaking of the week, though, Port Vale taking on Crewe in the Cup for a spot in the 3rd round. Who's going to get their hands on a good spot there? The odds here, we have 11-8 on as your Oxford, 13-5 as your draw, 4-1 as your away win. Oxford look good right now. They've got a good coach. Of course, Liam Manning's stock took a bit of a tumble, but Oxford took a punt on him. And right now, they're paying dividends as they top the table. And I think they'll still be in the hot seat this coming weekend as well. Next up, we have Portsmouth up against Peterborough in the Battle of the Peas, of course. Bit of a zinger as well over at Fratton Park. Played each other 17 times in 1983. We've got 7 wins for Pompey, 8 wins for Peterborough. We've got 2 draws, of course. Portsmouth, 3-0 win their biggest. Of course, 24 goals scored in those 17 games, 1.41 goals game ratio. Up against Peterborough, 5-1 their biggest, 26 goals scored in those 17 games, 1.53 goals game ratio. Peterborough, back-to-back defeats, those 67% form for them. They're down to 10th with just 9 points. Meanwhile, Posh coming to this unbeaten in the last 6, 83% form for them right now, 7th in the table, also on 9 points. Last time around, over at Fratton Park, it was a 2-1 win for Pompey back in September 2022. The away side hasn't won since Peterborough beat Portsmouth at Fratton Park back in April 2019. As for the week ahead, of course, Portsmouth are in action again. Guess this, against Peterborough. They're going to play each other twice. Oh my gosh. Both of them at Fratton Park. Which way will we go? I don't know. That's crazy. It's bonkers. As for the odds on this one, we have 31-20 is your Pompey, 12-5 is your draw, 70-10 is your away win, of course. So double header for these two sides. 3-2 win for me. Golf Fest, 5 goals in it, and Portsmouth taking the spoils as well. That's, of course, my predictions right here, right now. Take a little look at it. Take a snapshot of it. And, of course, if I'm right, of course, which we'll show in a minute, you make sure you get involved with the Prediction League. Of course, but if I'm right, this is what the table will look like. Oxford United still top, Bolton back up to 2nd, Exeter down to 3rd, Portsmouth, Cambridge, and then Shrewsbury make up the top 6. Fleetwood, Cheltenham, Burton, and Carlisle going in down, guys. That is it. That's my take for this weekend's action. Of course, make sure you get in there and smash your subscribe, smash your thumbs up, smash the little bell. We look forward to those games and more right here at Blackpool. But until then, guys, subscribe, thumbs up, and of course, catch you later on the next one.